called zombie. You worship a zombie.
My purpose is to steal her backpack. Great also, because everything's relative. But we're all going to the same place, the fertilizer pit, if there is no God, which means it's ultimately meaningless.
I ain't never been dead. I don't even remember what it was like before I was living.
This guy said that Jesus is a zombie. So make sure to watch till the end because I have a Bible verse that will tie all of this together. Let's get into it. Shout out to Cliff and give me an answer. Here we go.
You said earlier one of the important questions is what happens in the afterlife. I can punt on that. I have no problem punting on that because I don't know, and I'm not going to let you threaten me with an afterlife. If I show up at the pearly gates, fine. If I show up at the pearly gates and God is there, I will say, sorry, I'm going to hell because I don't want any part of this.
Right.
You said,
that's right.
You said that Jesus rose from the grave. We have a word for that. It comes from Haitian Creole, I believe. It's called zombie. You worship a zombie. You accept a human sacrifice.
We worship zombies now. That's crazy.
You say that because Eve ate that apple, women have to suffer horribly in childbirth and are not allowed to enjoy sex because of that stupid one little thing that God dared her to do and had a serpent there to back it up. Okay, so at that point, Christ gave his life for our sins, right? That's a human sacrifice. And when you eat the wafer and drink the wine, you are eating your sacrifice, which is not the way the Hebrews did it. You're not supposed to do that, okay? So you're already violating the rules in your own book, asking people to worship a zombie and trust you that there are sky fairies who will make everything wrong for all the people who hurt us in our life. Now, if you want to do that, fine. I accept that. Science tells me one thing. Religion is kind of like a drug. Okay, a little pot is great. A lot of pot is too much. A little religion helps people and makes them feel better, gives them strength for life. That is great. A lot makes them go and pillaging through the countryside, stabbing and hewing, launching crusades to get the bullies out of Europe because they were busy pillaging their own people, and why not the Muslims? Because we didn't care about them.
We all know that the Crusaders were a fight against the Muslims, and it was a response to hundreds of years of oppression and the Muslims pillaging and killing all of the Christians, forcing them to become Muslims. It was a response to that.
There is no God. You create your own purpose. And if my purpose is to love and respect her, that's great. But if tomorrow my purpose is to steal her backpack, that's great also, because everything's relative. But if there is a God who created her with value, then for me to steal her backpack is objectively, absolutely wrong.
We grow, we live, and we decay if something else doesn't take us out. I don't know what happens. I'm not going to pretend that I know what happens when we die. I ain't never been dead. I don't even remember what it was like before I was living. But what I will say is I don't have any fear of it. I have no knowledge of it. And I really could care less.
All right, then let me ask you. If Mother Teresa and Adolf Hitler are in the same place, the fertilizer pit, then does it matter whether you're Adolf Hitler II or Mother Teresa II? See, the point is, if there is no life after death, then life is ultimately meaningless. Because it doesn't ultimately matter whether you're Mother Teresa II or whether you're Adolf Hitler II.
It's an experience. Just because it doesn't necessarily have to be an afterlife.
Exactly. So let Hitler have his experience. Let the KKK have their experience. Let Dr. Martin Luther King have his experience. But we're all going to the same place, the fertilizer pit, if there is no God, which means it's ultimately meaningless.
No.
But that's the beauty of life, is that there is no meaning.
Thank you. There is no meaning to life if there is no God. But if there is a God who created us for a purpose, then there is meaning to life. And according to Christ, the purpose of life, the reason God created you and me, is to love God with our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love our neighbor as yourself.
It's hilarious how upset they get when Cliff says that there is an afterlife, so you better be ready. And they get so upset for whatever reason, even though they believe that there is no God, or they believe that nothing happens after they die. So
your life is not an accident. You were made for a purpose. That's good news. Did you see? Now just be honest with yourself. What's motivating you, my atheist friend? Is it because you like to write the rules? If that's the reason that you're rejecting God,
No, that's not
you're
the
not
reason.
being very honest
That's not the
intellectually.
reason. I really cannot rationalize it, okay? And when I try to rationalize it, all these conflicts that I'm like, okay, I'm not, that doesn't make sense to me. So one of those is being a controlling God that tells you that you're going to go to hell. That's not appealing to me.
I understand.
And if it-
But man, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second.
That's
I,
not appealing to me.
it's not appealing to me. Have you heard me say that?
I didn't say that you said that.
I
in
do
the
not
Bible,
find it
says
appealing
that you have
that God says I have to love all four of these people. I want to choose who I love. I want to choose who I respect. And if you give me a reason not to respect you, I don't want to respect you. Now I'm confronted by Jesus Christ, who says there is a God, Cliff, who created you to respect this woman regardless of her behavior. I don't like that. There's a God who says I got to love Austin regardless of what Austin does to me. I don't like that. If Austin is nice to me, I want to love him. If he's mean to me, I want to write him off. That's what I want to do. And all of a sudden, I'm confronted by a God who says, no, Cliff, I'm sorry. I created you to love Austin regardless. That's unconditional love. Now, where does that come from? It comes from the heart of God who unconditionally loves you and me. So much so that when we flip God off, instead of just washing his hands and saying, good riddance, go to hell, instead, he sent his only son, Jesus, to bleed and die on a cross to forgive
that's
us
so
and
good.
to reconcile us to himself. Now, that's amazing grace.
That's so good because of what Jesus did for us on the cross. Jesus told us to love our enemies, turn the other cheek. We have to admit, we have to love people who dislike us. We have to forgive those who keep on doing things against us.
Without God doesn't mean you're a bad person. You can still be a proper, just, loving person.
Right.
Without God. And that
That's
doesn't
right.
mean your life is meaningless because you don't believe in the afterlife. I feel
understand.
like if you don't believe in the afterlife, that gives the life you live right now more purpose because you're living, you get to live it to the fullest.
All right, good. Sir, no, I'm going to respond to him first. You need to read the black author James Baldwin. James Baldwin, the black author, was brilliant. James Baldwin pointed out, why is racism wrong? And what James Baldwin did was, he poured scorn on white liberal intellectuals who love to run around saying, oh, racism is wrong because you're not enlightened. If you were enlightened, if you were as intelligent as me, you would realize that racism is wrong. And James Baldwin pointed out, you're a bunch of arrogant intellectual elitists. Why is racism wrong? Racism is not wrong because I am a liberal, white, educated person. That is not why racism is wrong. Racism is wrong because you are a human being and I'm a human being created in the image of God. And racism is an attack on the innate value that God has given you. Racism is not wrong because I'm a white intellectual. And I have finally reasoned myself to the point of realizing, oh, racism is naughty.
Yeah, exactly. That's why racism is wrong, and that's why we need to have a relationship with Jesus, because he's the one who can truly set us free. But if there's no God, you can't say anything is wrong.
Big whoop, you white intellectual. That has nothing to do with why racism is wrong. Racism is wrong is because when you have a racist attitude, you are demeaning, degrading a human being created in the likeness of God. It's not wrong because I'm a white, enlightened intellectual who's gone to an Ivy League college. And so now I, from my intellectual superiority, define racism as being wrong. And if you base your life on your own thinking, your own intellect, you're exactly doing the same mistake that the intellectuals who James Baldwin attacked. Instead, if you're an honest atheist intellectual, you have to say, I've created my own moral system, but it's relative. It's my own bias. I've created my own meaning in life. And all of my atheist friends have created their own ethical system, and they've created their own meaning in life. But all of my honest atheist friends, intellectually honest, have to say, but that's just relative. It's just a taste of mine. And if I contradict tomorrow what I say I believe today and have good reason for it, that's fine. See, that's honesty.
So it doesn't mean that we're less of a person, that our life is meaning because we don't believe in God.
Okay?
We still live in a proper manner. We still
good.
can live like good people.
Okay, now, all you got to do is study Dr. Martin Luther King.
I have.
Okay, good. Then you know that Dr. Martin Luther King confronted by the white ministers of Birmingham, Alabama. Dr. Martin Luther King looked those white ministers in the face and said, "You are not taking your Jesus seriously enough. You're not committed enough to your Christ." Because when you read the Gospels and when you read the Bible, you see that God hates racism. So Dr. Martin Luther King did not say to those white ministers in Birmingham, Alabama, "Turn away from Christ." Instead, he pointed his finger in their face and said, "Start taking the Jesus you say you believe in more seriously." And I agree 100% with what King said.
I feel like there are a lot of people who can just, in this society especially,
Yes.
there's a lot of people who can just flip open and find something and flip it to how they want to flip it.
Yes, sir.
Like Westboro Baptist Church.
Yes, sir.
The KKK.
Yes, sir.
They'll flip it and say, "Oh, white people are superior. Oh, God hates everybody. God hates all
Yep,
of them."
yep.
And I just don't agree with how people flip things.
Good. We're the same, man. Just because a person says they're a Christian doesn't mean much of anything. Then you got to watch the way the person lives. And if they contradict Christ by the way they live, you know you got to look that person in the face and say, "Now what's going on here?" Okay, here's my final point to you, all right? And then we'll go on to somebody else. You know that I'm a follower of Christ, right? Okay, now I'm going to finish here in a little bit. If you watch me leave here and go out and womanize, try and sleep with as many women as I can, what are you going to call me?
Hypocrite.
A hypocrite. Thank you. An adulterer, a hypocrite. Because I say I believe in Jesus, but then I contradict it. So my point to my atheist friends is, don't be an intellectual hypocrite. Don't say there is no God, morality is relative, but then live as if your relative morality is objectively true.
So go to God today. That's the most logical thing that you could ever do in this lifetime, because he's longing to have a relationship with you, and there's so much evidence for Jesus. And following Jesus is the most rational and logical, because there is not moral relativism in this world. There's right and wrong, there's good and there's evil. God is good. Anyway, guys, now I have a Bible verse that will tie all this together. Psalms 100 verse 5 says, "For the Lord is good. His unfailing love continues forever, and his faithfulness continues to each generation." Go to God today. He will set you free from any addiction, from anything that is causing you pain and suffering. He loves you so much and is longing to have a relationship with you. So do that today. Know that he loves you. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I know we can do it with your help. So thank you for all your love and support. Shout out to the day one people who've been here and supporting me from all this time. Love and appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. Peace.